All right, I'm Josiah, and today we're going to look at day 3 of training camp. It's been a pretty interesting one. We're going to listen to see what Dave Canales has to say, and more importantly, we're going to see what he isn't saying as we try and read between the lines here a little bit. Let's get to it.
Great day. Just a bounce back for the offense, so we keep scoring.
Nice, love that. Yeah, things have been pretty heavy the last 2 days of training camp on the defensive side of the ball. It's about time, hopefully, see some more scoring from the offensive side.
On every period, and the defense pretty dominant the first 2 days with some flashes by the offense, but a good response by Bryce and the guys. Got the run game going a little bit, hit some balls down the field, and did a decent job in the move the ball at the end. And I just love that. Love the competitiveness that's happening, that they're bringing out in each other. And that's the way we get our best football is by challenging each other every day. The matchups up front, the matchups on the edges,
True.
all those things. So really pleased with the work that way and the bounce back.
Pretty great day for Xavier Legette. What have you seen from him so far during the first week of camp?
Yeah, just a great carryover from the spring. At this point,
I'm already shocked. Positive questions, positive response for Xavier Legette. Only day 3? All right, I see you, man. That Brazel pick, putting a little bit of pressure on my boy.
now X knows the system. That's the cool part is as we bring free agents, as we bring rookies in, they see X and he knows how to do it all, whether it's in the base game plan, third downs, nuances in the red zone, all the different things. He knows how to do it, but just matching it with his consistency. He looks fast. He looks powerful. He's having a great camp so far as we get started, and I'm excited to see where he goes from here.
On the injury front, do you have an update on Rob, Mike Jack, and Brazel doing practice as well?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, so she asked about Rob Hunt, right guard, who we obviously need. Sounds like Chris Brazel didn't play today. That's a little weird. And then Mike Jack, the cornerback, who didn't play in day 2 either. So asking for some updates there, injury-wise.
All good stuff. So Rob's trending in the right direction. He should be back pretty quickly. Mike, too. Mike had a really good day running out there. They were able to treat him up and, didn't look like anything significant. But both of those guys, camp back is what they call it. You get in and it's the first time you're competing, you're going against each other. And fortunately for us, we have this bonus week, with the Hall of Fame game where a lot of the things that end up popping up early on in camp's happening for us about a week earlier, so we can get ahead of it. We can get a treatment plan, and then we can dose them the right way and get them back out there. Chris, a little knee soreness, just something that we're being aware of, and we're going to get him some treatment, get him out there as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Dave, the union is at.
I always love this with with Dave Canales. He's always super straightforward, especially with positive news. You can always tell he's just very crisp with his answers, and he touches on each point of the question. Whereas sometimes with some of the more negative stuff, you might get a little bit more of a rambly version of him.
Some treatment, get him out there as quickly as possible.
Dave, the union is asked to look at the film with Nick's injury. How confident are you that you guys were doing things the right way in terms of the acclimations?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So I don't know who this reporter is, but I know him as soon as I hear his voice. He's hated by the fans because he can be a bit of an asshole sometimes, just asking questions that don't need to be asked. But the reason why I like him is like him is strong, but the reason why I appreciate having someone like that around is he does ask these very uncomfortable questions. And I haven't heard too much about this, but it sounds like the players union is looking into the injury on Nick Scorton to see if something went wrong. And so this reporter is asking hey, how confident are you in the fact that y'all didn't do something that caused this injury? And if that's the case, that's huge, because Nick Scorton is a really big part of this defense, and us losing him is big.
We teach the guys. We're aware that they're looking into it. We have the rules, we have the standards, we let them know. And I think from there, that's kind of more of a Bruce question just in terms of what's happening and what questions might be asked. But, all we can do is really just lay the groundwork out, show the guys good examples of what it looks like, and then go from there.
Have you ever been through a process like that before where the PA or maybe the NFL looked into something that you guys have done in practice?
Yeah, we had a couple, just in Seattle, we had a couple of situations where, they were pretty critical of what we were doing in our practices. We had to adjust, and there might have been some fines thrown out there and, OTA practice or something lost. But, I think that was kind of early on. Really, it was after 2011, sometime when the CBA and they all got together and kind of said, hey, here's the modes. And we learned, we grew. And so fortunately for me, coming into, my first time being a head coach in the last couple of years, I've had history and experience with how to do it and how to educate the guys by showing great examples of what we're looking for.
That's interesting. So I think he's talking about his time when he was on the Seattle coaching staff. They ran into some issues with the practice, player association, things of that sort. And like I said, he gets a little rambly sometimes when you can tell he's a little uncomfortable. He starts to, and this is smart, like they're taught to do this. Like, hey, this is probably a better question for someone else because I don't really know the right way to answer this. This person we're never going to actually talk to. So you can tell, it sounds like something might have gone down. We'll see.
Reed made a pretty impressive catch over 3 defenders today.
That's what we're looking for.
Jasim Reed made a pretty impressive catch over 3 defenders today. What is it about his game that sticks out to you?
Really?
Jasim Reed is a rookie receiver, I believe, right? Let me see. Yeah, first season, went to San Diego. I don't know too much about him, but hey, big catches. I like keeping track of guys like this. He's very, very far on the depth chart. He's pushing for a roster spot. And so these are the type of guys I'm always interested in. I like keeping track, seeing what does Dave Canales say about him apparently having a pretty good day today. And then what he says today doesn't really matter too much, but it's like, hey, how often is he showing up in these training camps? And how does he look in these preseason games? Are we going to keep seeing positive momentum, or is he going to fall a little bit? This is a tough team to be a receiver on because we have a lot of receivers who are going to actually play, but still can never have too much depth.
Really, he's consistent, so he knows the concepts. He's a really smart guy, and he's been that way since we got him. A guy we have a lot of trust in, and then he just keeps making plays. Carl Smith is here as one of our senior offensive advisors, and he said, a receiver is good. When you throw it, they catch it, and he does. So he makes the play, whether somebody's close to him or he's got space. He's got an ability to bend, get out of his breaks either way. So he's given him a great chance to compete to make this roster with a lot of other guys, and so I'm proud of just seeing where he's at right now.
Good.
When you go to pads, what do you want to see out of Jonathan Brooks?
Really just nothing different than what he's doing now. Is stay on your track in the run game, be on top of your protections. We're not telling guys to go to the ground. Once you get in pads, it gets more physical. Those types of things, the trip up might happen. You get knocked off balance, he'll go to the ground, and really just to kind of get that contact adaptation. It's not just about taking the hits and absorbing, but it's also about hitting the ground and just feeling your legs and getting comfortable with that. So just, encouraging him to be confident, play fast, and all the rest of it in his time will come back. He's been playing the position for a long time.
Basically.
Confirm, when will you go to pads?
Ooh, good question.
I believe it's Tuesday.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're seeing from Monroe on the right side, now that he's had a couple days to know that's kind of his role, and how did the stuff over there in spring?
Yeah, rookie right tackle they're asking about here.
Yeah, I've seen great physical ability. I've seen his athleticism, length, sheer strength and power. He's gotten really strong, especially this summer too. He spent a lot of time on that. So I've really seen him. He's got all the tools to do an excellent job over there. Now it's just about getting comfortable on the right side, getting your sets right, getting your targets right in the run game. And that's the part that's been up and down a little bit for him. If he'd be up here telling you the same thing, there's stuff that he wants to work on. And again, just getting challenged by, Jalen Phillips every day over there on the right side.
That.
And, Pat Jones flips over, Princely, these guys challenging him and bringing out the best. That's one of the parts of competition is when guys are going against each other and challenging each other, it shows kind of the holes in your game and the techniques you need to work on. That's exactly what we need, and that's what Monroe's getting right now.
With Monroe in that regard,
I like that. I mean, he's a rookie right tackle. He's going to have some things he's doing very well. Like Dave's basically saying, hey, he has all of the right pieces. He's strong. He's smart. All this stuff. And he still has a lot to work on. He's still missing some assignments, stuff like this. Like, it's what's to be expected. He's doing fine.
does that even become more apparent that some of the things he needs to work on as you transition to pads?
Probably will. Now, I will say this. the transition from being in just jerseys or a spider to pads, there's more of a surface for the offensive lineman to grab onto. So it's actually kind of to the offensive line's advantage once you do get to pads, you know, and that's where also just with these first couple of days, while we're taking in all the information, and it's so important, we don't want to make any judgments about any of our guys, whether it's a pass rusher or a pass protector, even outside at receiver, you know, in DB. Once there's that extra surface, you know, can the guy continue to play this combative type of football? This is a little bit different, you know, so that's where we really get to have, you know, the clear picture of people that are going to be able to help us.
Yeah, just great points. Good points all around. It's just logical. Don't really take things too seriously until we see the pads on, because things change so much when that happens.
To Deon Lloyd next.
Yes.
And you talked about him, I guess, a couple of days ago and how impressed you were.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him?
Yeah, you know, just a pro's pro, the way that he prepares, the way he takes care of his body. He's the guy you have to pull back because he's going to want to do more. Loves to be in the gym, in the weight room, working on his body, aqua therapy, whatever it is, massage, different. He's got his whole plan figured out. And then just as a player on the field, there's an energy about him. There's an excitement. There's a focus and engagement that he brings to walkthroughs, to the practice. That's great. And especially when it's coming from that inside linebacker position, you know, and we've had some great ones here. And he's one of the guys that really brings the whole group together and has them all talking and communicating, and great leadership.
When you're back on a new
I mean, Deon Lloyd, that's what I expected him to say about that.
team, it's kind of hard to kind of establish your voice.
Yeah.
Immediately, has he begun to do that?
From the time he got here. And first of all, the guy, his reputation precedes him, so a lot of the guys knew who he was and the type of football that he was capable of playing. But then just the way he carries himself, it's a posture where you want to respect the guy, and you know that he's here to work, he's here to do it together with the guys, and I know they can see that, and he fits right into a lot of the guys we have here already. And so really it was an immediate impact. But now that we're back at camp and the guys are excited about the season coming up and all that, you know, it's just a daily reminder for all of them guys, we got to be on it, and that's the type of urgency you got to have.
Yeah.
John Mechie and Bryce obviously played in college.
Yeah.
Have you seen that chemistry kind of manifest itself in camp so far? And then just generally, what are your early impressions of John?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big
Good question, because John Mechie really shouldn't be on the field too much with Bryce outside of a few sets. But I'm curious, maybe I'm seeing it wrong and Mechie's out there a bit more with him. So I like that question. Just give us a little bit of insight on how are they using John Mechie, or thinking about using him so far.
big time trust factor there, whether it's just knowing he's going to break the route at the right time, or even after the play with some of the scramble opportunities Bryce has found him on. There's this immediate chemistry. And then, you know, just from a personal standpoint too, another veteran guy, another guy who I love that's here, because again, just talking about Devin, I got to talk about John too, just the way he approaches every day and regards this opportunity and is willing to, you know, compete, but also willing to talk to guys and help. So I love that he's here, and I love that he's bringing a lot of competition to that room.
Going back to Devin, how does he kind of rub off on Trevin or the guy next to him? How does he sort of change their role?
Well, it takes some pressure off, first of all, but it also sets an example for this is how the position is played. It's meant to be played cerebrally. Got to know what's happening pre-snap, and then once that ball snapped, do your job. But at the end of the day, go attack the ball wherever it's at, whether it's on the perimeter, whether it's up inside, and it's that urgency, it's the aggressiveness, the way he plays. That's such a great example for that room. But it also just allows Trevin, allows Claude, allows Bam to just play ball because he.
Going back a little bit to John Mechie, it sounds like he actually probably is out there a bit more than I thought he would be, just because Dave was talking about him being out there when Bryce is scrambling, when plays fall apart. He did pretty quickly go to talking about more of his role of just being a leader and showing some of these young guys how to go about things the right way. But I'm going to kind of save that as a question mark on how are they using John Mechie in this offense?
He's getting everybody sorted out. He's making the calls. He's got the command in the huddle. And what I've seen over the years is that's very comforting for guys.
Dave, we always talk about how players develop, but from your coaching staff, who's the guys that have grown the most with you since you came here to?
Well, I got to talk about our coordinators first. Brad's doing a fantastic job of just putting the whole thing together, building concepts off of concepts, making sure guys are prepared to go out there and, in our move the ball periods and situations. One of the critical things is make sure you get that call in early, and he's been on top of the personnels, the D&Ds, and doing a great job of maintaining that rhythm. I love just where he's got the defense and the guys talking and communicating, troubleshooting different concepts, run concept, pass concepts. There's a lot of familiar language that's carryover. And so I feel a lot of preparation there. And then with Tracy, just continuing to push the envelope. We do some things different in some of our phases than a lot of teams. And I love that. It keeps the guys engaged. And, there's a point where when you start to master the basics and the core of what you're doing, it's so important that we push our guys and we throw new concepts at them, throw different ways to cover kicks, to return kicks. It keeps them interested in it, and it's fun and challenging at the same time. So he's done a great job of just, bringing that unit together. So it's really just all three phases. The level of comfortability that I have with these guys that we've been working with together to build, here's how we play, and then here's what we do. And we've captured all those things at this point right now. And the challenge for us is, can we make sure that shows up every single day? And that's always where I'll be pushing them.
Man, I've been watching coach interviews for a long time, and I can tell a mile away when they're about to go down one of their really big coach speak rants, where they kind of touch on every little point that they want to get across in the world that's really good for their team and things of that sort. So really good if you care about that, but I've heard so much of this that all of that was a big nothing burger for me.
We asked Dan, I don't think we've asked you about the thought of perhaps bringing in a fourth quarterback sometime between now and middle of August.
Good question.
Yeah, it's always on.
Y'all see why I can appreciate. Oh, but if I saw his name in front of me, I would know it. Is it Dave? Maybe, I don't know. But I think it is Dave Newton or David Newton, something like that. Do y'all see why I can appreciate him? When you watch a lot of interviews, you get so many soft little layups to these coaches where they're able to just rant about wherever the heck they want to rant about. Where if you have someone asking actual thoughtful questions, which he doesn't always do, but at least he's pushing things a little bit. And asking about a fourth quarterback, that's dramatic. That's the stuff that people want to know about. And it makes a coach a little uncomfortable because it's hey, do you trust those guys in that QB room? And I feel comfortable with it. Let's see what Dave says.
Radar, we're looking for how we can make that fit in. As we all know, we have a number of guys that we're counting on to come back to us in short order. And then there's a couple of guys that'll be back further down in the future. But because of those guys, they all count towards our 90-man roster. It makes it really challenging to carry four quarterbacks when we have depth concerns at some other positions just to throw a practice. So we have to keep that in mind, but we're always looking. We're always looking at all the different positions because we have to be ready. When this is or that's kind of show up throughout camp, we got to be ready to pivot and bring people in.
You see what I'm saying? That was a fun answer, and I think even Dave appreciated it a little bit because he was just super honest there. He was like, bruh, we have a decent amount of guys injured right now that still count towards our roster. If we add in someone just for the sake of adding them in who probably won't ever play for us, just to throw the ball at practice, there's only so much we could do with that. And I love that answer because it's just the truth. He's like, have you seen the rest of the depth chart? We have other issues here besides quarterback to throw at freaking practice. Good answer.
Last question. Everybody good?
We good?
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
What's up, y'all? Yeah, pretty straightforward. Good interview. We did get a little bit of insight on some of the deep depth pieces, like Jasim Reed. We got a bit of a call out for Xavier Legette. We got a lot of focus on Deon Lloyd there, which for me, he is a leader on this team. He has to be a leader on this team. And so we heard all the right things there. Some questions I'm still curious about is who specifically was doing so well on the offense. Was the offense able to score touchdowns today? In some of the previous practices, Dave did focus a bit more on hey, we had 3 strong drives. The defense was able to stop them X amount of times. We didn't get any specifics. Don't know who scored or how they scored. It sounds like the run game was looking better today. So all we know is that there was just some positive momentum, but I would like to get a little bit more clarity on how we got there. But we'll see what happens next. And I think I am going to start doing some videos once some of these other teams get into training camp and just kind of doing some more parallels. Like, hey, look at how our coach is communicating this compared to some of the other teams who are in different situations. One thing I like about Dave is he is pretty transparent most of the time. A lot of coaches are, but I don't know. I think it will also give me a little bit more insight on the rest of the NFL too. Anyway, peace out, y'all. Good luck. Bye.